Hey, you're listening to the She Did That podcast, where we highlight women of color who embody leadership, empowerment, and commitment to their community through entrepreneurship and social action. Here's where ferocity, fun, and facts all live in harmony. So stay tuned because, again, you're listening to the She Did That podcast. Welcome to She Did That. We are back with another guest. We have Teinya Freedom. We're going to talk about a lot of things about like holistic health, sexual freedom, just overall well-being. Teinya, can you please introduce yourself just a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Teinya. I go by Free, and I am the creator and founder of Pum Pum Powa. Pum Pum Powa mission is to create holistic products and services for the healing and empowerment of women. I'm woman-centered, but I try to make sure that I offer something that all beings can benefit from. I'm a mother. Business is fairly new to me. Entrepreneurship is fairly new to me. I'm an activist as well, right? And overall, though, I just love being in my community. I love being able to be involved with my community and meet the need in my community as far as like wellness goes and self-care and holistic health. And overall, I love being able to do it like in a way that's culturally relevant. And kind of centers like what the community wants, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see that.
I feel like that was a lot of it, but
I mean, it's only half of it, because I mean, she does so much more. She like represents so much more to our community. And really, I want to delve into this concept of you being new to entrepreneurship, but really feeling as if you have this connection to your community, like how you bridge that gap. I want to talk about how you have identified that need in the community and why you felt like it has to be you to fulfill that need.
Yeah, so I do a lot of introspection. That's just my thing, you know. And excuse me. After having a child, that whole experience, I'm the type of person where everything in my life is intentional. That's just how I am, you know what I'm saying? So me getting pregnant, that was life-changing for me. Like literally my world, my universe, my life, it just felt like everything, I was just like taking it in a perspective and really asking myself, when my child gets here, is he going to be pleased with the way I'm treating myself? Is he going to be pleased? It's like, what type of relationships is he going to see with me and other folks? Is it going to be healthy? Is it going to be equal? You know what I'm saying? What is it going to look like? So I had to ask myself these very important questions, not only pertaining to him, but also pertaining to myself. Questions that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before, you know. And after just going through that experience of like carrying a child and being a Black woman while carrying a child, and you know, America is not the best place for maternal health, especially for Black women. So you know, there was just so much that I had to think about. How am I caring for myself? Wellness, you know, and trying to like get knowledge from women who done been through it before, and recognizing that a lot of them had traumatic experiences that was normalized, you know what I'm saying, or they kind of got numb to it. So it's like where I was looking for like, okay, how do I thrive in my pregnancy? How do I thrive even though this whole thing is going on? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really much people around me that could really answer that in a way that was fulfilling. And I was like, yo, like, as far as like my research and what calls to me, I find that this is supposed to be a time where I'm supposed to be relaxing, taking things in, taking my time. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, no, not everybody thinks about it that way. Not everybody prioritizes it that way. So overall, what I'm trying to say is I knew that it was a need in the community because it was something I needed, and I didn't really even know where to start. I didn't know where to go. It wasn't a lot of resources or a lot of feedback that I got that I was comfortable with. So I was like, okay, I need to find these places and these resources. And that's kind of where it started for me, you know.
I love that. I love that you kind of talked about how your perspective as a parent, that's what triggered that, like, what are other mothers going through? What type of world are we setting up for our children? That's where the community piece and also the activism piece kind of steps in, because you want what's best for our community right now, but also for our next generation to go through.
Oh, yes.
And when you are going through these motions of also balancing activism and entrepreneurship, how do you find that balance? Where do you ever draw a line? Is there, like, is it interweaved into everything you do? How do you maintain your business and your essence through all of that?
Yes, that's a beautiful question, Nakai. So balance is the key for me this year. When I created my vision board, that was one of the things that I wrote down is balance. And as far as activism goes and entrepreneurship goes, I draw tons of lines all the time. And sometimes I will have drawn a line and I have to go and erase the line and put it further back or put it closer. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you won't really know where I'm the type of individual, I won't really know my balance until I have experienced certain things. Then I can know, okay, this was too much, this was too little. But having gone through that and being introspective, I feel like I'm at a point now where I done been in it long enough to where I can kind of know when I need to kind of take a break and redirect. And as far as knowing that, it's just like I'm the type of person where it's two things I don't ever compromise on. I don't ever compromise on sleep, and I don't ever compromise on food. I'm telling you.
Amen to that. Yes.
I'm telling you, sis. I'm telling you, I don't. Like, I'm the type of person, I prefer to sleep. I prefer to sleep and deal with the consequences than staying up to get something done. Because at the end of the day, if I cannot show up presently, I'd rather not show up. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to like have that motivation to get it done and do what you got to do, but it's another thing to like be drained and to still have to like, no, I know when my body needs rest because it shows me signs. You know what I'm saying? We all know when we tired. We all know our body gives us these clues, these signs, you know, and I'm receptive to them all. So, and living an intentional life is also like, being intentional is to the point where you're already tracking yourself. So also, once you get to that point, you're going to just know because you live in intentionally. You already paying attention to your cycles. You already paying attention to things that, that gives you joy, but also things that like hurt you. So you knowing yourself, you know your rhythms. Essentially, you know, and a big part of that too is being able to speak up and to stand your ground. You know, boundaries is, I think, the main part of that is being able to say, you know what, I am an activist, but hey, I know where my priorities lie. And whenever I'm in a place where I feel like my child is kind of being placed second or he's at a disadvantage, I always recheck that. That's like my gauge. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, with the activism, before I can give to my community, I got to make sure that home is taken care of. First and foremost, I got to make sure I'm taken care of. Then I got to make sure home is taken care of. And then I can get to my community. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the mindset that I'm operating in currently, because also my home is what gives me the foundation to be able to show up for my community in the ways that I do. So I have to be respectful of making sure that there's balance there first. So.
Okay. So, and I actually want to kind of feed off of that too. What are the questions that you ask yourself when establishing these priorities or these boundaries? You know, like when you're presented with an opportunity or you have an idea that you want to do, what are the questions that you ask yourself to be more introspective and intentional so that you are making sure that everything aligns in the way that it needs to align?
Yeah. So, pertaining to just like taking on, like, let's say another event or just another thing that I have to put on my calendar. First of all, I got to check my calendar. That's just the first and foremost. Can I actually physically do this thing? Right? And then the second part is, if I can physically do this thing, the next step for me is speaking to my husband, because that's my support system. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the next step is like checking into your support system, the people that you depend on to bounce ideas off of. In my case, the person I'm dependent on to watch my kid. You know what I'm saying? So the next step is to speak with him, see what he has going on. Is it physically possible for what he has going on? Because honestly, the way we work is, I already said, I'm not going to be the type of individual that's going to let the fact that I do not have a babysitter stop me from doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to find a way to healthily show up with my child. And we kind of work in a way where he's with us most of the time, and we kind of just bounce off of each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a system that we have created so that we can actually get our things done effectively without having to like depend on other people's schedule, you know? So I go speak to him, and then after that, you know, if it's actually physically possible for both of us, it's the finances, you know, can we do this financially? If not, what can we do to get there? Are we gonna need a babysitter? Do we both need to be at this event? Can we bring our child? You know, so it's a series at this point now. It's a series of events, because remember, this is my job. This is my, literally, like after I had my child, like I was like, this is it for me. I have to make this work, you know? And this is literally me making it work. So it's to the point now where it ain't even matters of, oh, can I actually do this? It's matter of like, let me check in. Let me see if I can do it. And also I ask myself emotionally as well, can I emotionally deal with whatever this thing is? The event, the activity, the call, the meeting, can I actually show up emotionally? Can I show up spiritually? Is it the right time? Girl, I check everything. Like, I check what's going on in the universe. There's certain readers that I follow, and I'm interested to know, like, because there's so much going on, especially in this time. So I check the depth. You know?
Everything needs to align for these opportunities to exist.
Girl, it's in these days, it is, girl, it's better to be deep. It's better to say, you know what, let me double check on this. Let me, you know, is my cycle near? You know what I'm saying? Because girl, you know what I'm saying? Because my cycle, emotionally, it causes me to be, you know what I'm saying, off balance a lot of times. So therefore, it's like certain things I have to even be mindful of that. Is it event time around that time, you know, because I have to prepare for that. So it's really knowing yourself and knowing the depths that you gotta go. And trying, you know, like Nipsey Hussle said, you gotta dot your T's, not dot your T's, cross your T's and dot your I at the end of the day, or I can sleep right.
Exactly. That one thing that you do not do might be the exact reason why it did not go right. Like,
Yes.
you need to make sure you're thorough.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And being able to do this full time allows me to be thorough. I was already a thorough person to begin with, and it used to stress me out. It used to stress me out. It used to give me anxiety, you know, and now it's like I get to be as thorough as I need to be, you know, so it's like working out for me, actually. Yeah.
I love that. And I love hearing of female entrepreneurs who are out here who are actually like, you know, making it work, you know, like entrepreneurship is it's a huge beast to jump onto, you know, it's something that you're going to have to really take on and just like make it your all, and you have to be really about it. So that's why I give like kudos to you for, you know, making it work, about being a mother, about being a wife. Like those are all titles that you cannot take lightly. So I definitely caps headbands off to you, sis, because it's real. And honestly, I want to talk about the fact that you were talking about balance and talking about, of course, intentionality and all those things. When should women start doing that for themselves? Like, is there any sweet spot as to when we should start thinking about who we are and how we show up in the world?
I would say whenever that time feels right for you. I think at some point every person has to sort of face themselves, you know, and it's a different time for everyone. I choose to face myself because I believe that the more that I understand myself, the better I can make this life thing work for me, you know. But I would say first and foremost it has to be a personal thing, because everybody, you know, had their own experiences on their own path. You can't be forced to see something. You can't be forced to be introspective. It ain't gonna work, or it's just gonna be shallow. But you know, even with that, even with the more shallow things where it's like you might not necessarily know, like you might hear about the benefits of journaling, for example. But maybe starting off, you just journaling because you heard about the benefits. But then, you know, time may pass and 5 months later, you still journaling. And you didn't even peep that like this thing had become a part of your routine, and then it forces you to be introspective because you done tried this thing, right? So the fact of the matter is it happens at your own time, it happens in your own pace, in your own journey, but it's never too early. I've been introspective my whole life, as far as I can remember. I've always been in my head. I've always been like, you know, asking these questions, asking these deeper questions. And I'm raising my child to be introspective as well. So it's never too early. It's never a wrong time, a bad time. It's up to you. And I also am choosing to be this person that people can come to when they are ready to start that journey, and to be a guidance for them, you know, actually break these things down. Like, yeah, you done heard about it, but you know, I'm working with you so that we can actually create something that's going to be beneficial for you. So, and just real quick, I know this is kind of like gossipy, like with the whole Jada and Will thing. But like this whole idea, I've heard a couple of people, a couple of opinions about it, but it's like this idea of like healers feel it's their job to heal a person. But it's like, I consider myself a healer because when I was, you know, heavily in the Christian faith, like I was being called a healer. Every person that came to church and prophesied and spoke over my life called me a healer. You know, I would lay hands on people, you know, all of that. So, and I've healed myself on many planes. I've also healed my husband on many planes as well. So, I call myself that. I choose it. I choose to carry that title, but I also say that to say it's not my job to heal you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not my job. I cannot do that. I'm a guidance. I'm a guidance. I'm here to hold space so that what needs to happen can happen with some guidance. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you have the tools. I'm helping. I'm reflecting. The work that I do is to reflect what is inside of you. So like this idea of like, no, it's you. It's inside of you. The keys are inside of you. You know what I mean? So that's just my little piece on that.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people did get mad at Jada for taking advantage of the position, like knowing that he was in a vulnerable place and all of these things. But at the same time, you know, he had some work to do himself, you know, and she was not his healer. Like she was just someone who was there during the process. Now, whatever transpired during that time that's their business. Cause
Yeah,
that's their business.
of course.
But the conversation around the whole mental health aspect is that is his own. That's the conversation that he has to have within himself, and that was the work that he had to do to heal himself. So much of healing actually really does come from time spent with yourself and time just digging into what's really going on. You can have assistance, you can have guidance, you can have everyone in the book, a therapist, a coach or whatever, but at the end of the day, the responsibility is on the person that is going through what is going through.
Exactly. Exactly. So, hey, and that's why I feel proud. At one point I was like, I'm not comfortable providing the service for money, you know what I'm saying? But I'm actually learning to change my relationship with money. I'm learning to change how I think about money. I'm learning to change how I talk about money. You know what I'm saying? And the beautiful thing about money in this case is that it gives me the resource to be able to show up. So, you know what I'm saying? If it forces me to be professional, because this is an exchange, you know what I mean? And that money is providing me the space to actually show up and be present for you in that way. You know what I'm saying? So, it could get tricky sometimes when you're providing these services and you're providing them in a way that's more community and less systematic. But I try my best to kind of merge the two. Because boundaries can get very blurred, and we're all humans, and when you're in a place where you can be vulnerable with an individual and you can share these deep feelings with an individual, a bunch of things can happen, so that's why I try my best to not shy away from the business aspect, but really embrace it.
Yeah, definitely embrace the journey, and those boundaries that you have with yourself is what really is key. You have to be able to draw the line. Hey, is this a service are these tips that I can give for free, or is this something that we have to do and you would have to pay for the actual? So that is definitely the balance that
Today, it's I'm a mother first. I'm actually technically still the main caregiver within my kid's life. My work schedule has to come after he's good. So that's also, I feel like I'm always living in duality.
Yes.
Basically.
Always. You the Hannah Montana, the Black Hannah Montana, just going from one world to the other.
You feel me? You feel me? And that's due to my childhood experience as well, because like I said, I came straight from Jamaica into Granby, Mass, and then Granby, Mass to Springfield. You know what I'm saying? So it was these huge cultural shifts, and I really just had to learn how to adapt and to do it swiftly, and so, and even while I was in Jamaica, I was constantly moving around. So I also had to adapt there as well. So, I just kind of understand that that prepared me to just be able to do this,
Yeah, when you're used to having to be flexible and having to be nimble, I swear people who go through those types of experiences are probably the best entrepreneurs, because they just know, they know how to hustle when times get tough, when times get time, energy, anything that maybe gets tight, how to weave behind it. And girl, how I feel. You doing that. And I actually think that when it comes to family and how you adjust for family, there are so many young girls who are out there who are going to school, who are working, who are just trying to put two and two together.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to them Like, what type of advice do you have for them?
Mm. Um, Ground yourself in something bigger than yourself. Yeah, and it's up to you to decide what that is. Um, get a practice, get some sort of practice that you can ground yourself in, essentially is what I'm trying to say. And that practice can look different. For me, that practice is all the crunchy wellness stuff, it's yoga, it's journaling, it's meditating, it's spending time in nature, surrounding myself with greenery, my incense, my sage, my candles, all the things that I'm about and that I sell are things that give me life. So I always just say that, like, have that practice, have that wellness practice. It could be dancing, the list goes Zumba. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on, but have that practice, do it consistently. If it brings you life, if it brings you joy, if it lights your soul on fire, you know what I'm saying? Do it consistently. Remember that on the other side of fear is your best life. I'm telling you, it's your best life on the other side of fear. And yeah, I think those are actually the two things I would say, because this entrepreneur thing is different for everyone. Like, it's very different for everyone. And I think the main thing is make it what works for you. Work with what you got. I'm telling you, work with what you got, even if you're taking pictures and it might not be as clear as you like it. Your products might not be as classy as you like it, whatever. But once you start somewhere, be proud of the fact that you're starting, celebrate the small victories, and ground yourself, do your practices, and keep yourself happy consistently with your practices. And I'm telling you, it's the simple stuff that help you figure out the more complicated stuff.
It really does.
Yeah, I'm the reminder. I'm the reminder of, like, the simple things. Like, it's not this, like, whole intricate thing. It is, but at the same time, it's like I'm really here to deal with the self-care, the wellness, the soul, So I just try to remind people of just those little things. Hold on to those little things in the midst of
everything, especially times like these during Corona and, like, of course, the racial tension that's going on in this country, like, and just regular life. I mean, a lot of people are suffering due to those two things. So, yes. I also want to kind of dive into what was the best advice or the worst advice that you ever received, and why was it either the best or the worst?
Okay. I remember this question, but I'm really trying to think. Are there other points? The best advice that I've ever been given is to just be myself in this business. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't change yourself to get more exposure, more clientele. You know what I'm saying? Hone into, like, what makes you unique. Because at the end of the day, it could be a lot of people doing the same thing, but it's what makes you unique that's gonna set you apart, and it's also what makes you unique that's gonna attract people to you, because that's what makes you stick out. That's your light, that nobody else got that. So that's just the best advice when I speak to people and they encouraging me to just keep on. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing ever. When I'm, like, bringing ideas to people and I'm nervous about what they're gonna think about it. Oh, is it gonna be too radical? Because you know me, Nakai, I'm a radical individual, right? So, but when I can, like, present my ideas to people and they're actually encouraging me to continue, that's amazing. The worst advice is the complete opposite of that. Is like, doing, like, to please folks. Like, yeah, you got to be smart, because at the end of the day, you don't want to end up with 3 customers, like 3 loyal customers. You know what I'm saying? You do, yeah, you got to be able to, like, I take my population in mind. Like, everyone that follows me on my Instagram and even my Facebook, like, I done probably met these people at least once. Yeah, I mean, it's like only like 200 and some change. But at the end of the day, I done met them in some capacity, spoke to them in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty proud of that. But I say all of that to say, like, yo, you don't have to hop on a boat. You don't have to change yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can do things differently, you know, and it can work out for you. So the worst advice is just like this idea of needing to change up who you are and your vision to please and to pull people. Because if you're really in this for the long run, in my opinion, I think even if you start off and not everybody see the vision, so as long as you stay consistent with that vision, people gonna see in time, you know? Because they probably gonna be like, yo, this person been consistent. This person been saying this. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then that will be your time to shine, the way I look at it. So, yeah, worst advice, change yourself. Water yourself down. Water your business down. Best advice, yeah, spell it in patois. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Keep that name, girl. It's radical. I like it. You know, authenticity over all this other ish.
Yeah. Show up how you show up. You know, like being authentically you. Yes. Potent you.
Yes.
I'm so with that. And just to kind of close out, please, Teinya, tell them what you got on your website, where we can reach you. Tell us all the facts that we need to know so that we can support.
Yeah. So my website is pumpumpowa.com, and that's spelled PUMPUMPOWA.com. And on there, you can see a list of my services, and you can also see a list of my products. I have my link to my Etsy page because that's currently where I accept shipping orders. But if you are local, listen, I love my community. My community is the reason that I'm able to show up in this way. So if you are local, hit my inbox, hit my DM, you know, ask me a question through the comments, whichever way, I'll get back to you. I do drop-offs, and I also do pop-ups whenever there's an opportunity. So yeah, and also I have an office space currently at Studio 235 in West Springfield that is operated by Tiana and Chris Joel. Amazing people, amazing individuals. They're active in the community as well. Currently I'm accepting appointments, you know, and I also try to keep my products here as well. So if you order from me and you need a space to come pick up, this is the perfect space to come do that. You need a self-care session. I didn't even get a self-care session. I'm doing so much, y'all. I'm doing so much. I have a few services, but that's it for now. I have 3 services. I have my yoni steam service, my yoga service, and my self-care sessions. And you can see all of this on my website. And if you have more questions, I'm so open to speaking and explaining. But essentially, I could see me at the studio. I'm here most days. And hit me up on social media. I respond.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. Just remember, you're a part of the She Did That family, and you also have to remember that you did that. You're doing it every single day, and we highlight you because you are rocking out here. So thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Awesome. Thank you, Nakai. And before I go, I also want to let you know that you did that. You know what I'm saying? You've allowed me, given me so many opportunities to really show the world that I'm serious about what I'm doing. And, you know, you've always had an open mind whenever I came to you with my ideas and encouraged me. And it's been that way since I met you at UMass, showing up for your community. Let me tell you, Nakai shows up. Okay, Nakai has been showing up. So you did that as well. Thank you. And for everyone who listened, thank y'all. And before I go, I just want to just take this moment to actually ground myself.
Yeah.
And we can all just take a moment to just ground ourselves. Just for a moment, just a quick deep breath in through our nostrils, out through our mouth. And just in this moment, ground ourselves in abundance, ground ourselves in love and joy and possibility.
Yes, girl. Yes. You ended it the way it needed to be ended. Thank you.
All right, sis. Peace.